We're fired up, folks. Happy Friday night, and we are ready to go. And we hope that you folks are as well. Share, 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 share. Share the live, folks. Smash that emoji button. Wherever you're joining us from this evening, share that live. Smash, smash, smash. It's Friday, our final broadcast for the week, for this week, good folks. It's our final broadcast, and I'm making sure we got the T's dotted and the I's crossed. Good to have you folks with us. Romeo, Ali, Sparkle, Gonzalez. Good to have all you guys with us this evening. Pace and power. We're just making sure that everything ticking in the right order this end. We just ensure that everything is ticking in the true and correct order, folks. Good to have all of you on the live, like we said, wherever you're joining us from. Share the link back to your WhatsApp group. Share the link back to your Facebook profiles, your Facebook page, the groups you're in on Facebook, because we want as many persons as possible to get the valid and credible information. As many persons as possible. Again, good folks. We're happy and delighted to have all of you here with us this evening. Happy and delighted, and every possible screen that could open in front of me right now is open. Good to have you here, Claire Capel, and I see Winnell is here, and Laverne, Harry Chuan, Kelvin Prasad, Lynn Finance is here, and Allison Welcome is here, Abigail Natasha Kingston, Erwin Don Cook, Anne-Marie Selby is here as well, folks. We're happy to have all of you on the live this evening, and thanks for being here up front with us all week long. It's been such a privilege and pleasure having all of you here, Orin Don and Abigail, and Alistair, and Bonito, and Kwana Mingo, Bernadette, Patricia, Miller is here as well. Folks, good to have each and every one of you. I won't call names, but that lovely couple from the diaspora that I met today, that lovely couple, Asquith, we see you there as well, and Forbes, Meduse, and all the others. Forbes, I remember you following me way into Brooklyn. That lovely evening. Thank you so much again, Forbes. I see you on the live here. Karen and Everil and Claudine Duqua is on the live too, folks. Claudine is here. Well, you all know it's going to be a good evening once Claudine is here, folks. We're fired up at our end. We're going to do about 40 to 50 minutes. We're fired up at our end, folks. Paul and Rowena, comment. When you guys even see since you come back, you bring the chocolate. Marina, you bring the chocolate. I saw your message. I saw it. That store there. Yeah, we can talk to them. Gloria Chester, I see you on the live tonight, Gloria. I see you on the live. Pace and power, Gloria. Pace and power. Good to have all of you here with us. Guys, I really hope you all have had a good week. And we are fired up and ready to get into it and to move forward. Final program for the week, folks. Thank God it's Friday. How many of you sing that? How many of you sing Thank God it's Friday? As I said, good to have you all on with us. And the fight card tonight, all your boy, the Attorney General. Yeah. We can talk about him in a little bit. Share the live now, good folks. Smash that emoji button. Melissa Atwell, Auntie Melly Mel. We can talk with her a little bit too. And then this young man from Tushen. Things a little gray in Tushen. I thought the people were more hospitable in Tushen. We can talk with he as well. This broadcaster who was intercepted with all this marijuana. Side hustle. You find the people who got the $47 million worth in the Barbies River and the 50 million and the 70 million. I'm not saying what she did is right. But it's always a small man. Isn't it so, good folks? It is always this small man. But let's start with the opener, good folks. Let's start with the opener. Lead up the lines with change. Nigel Hughes has been grounding with the people of this country. In more recent times, he's been grounded with our indigenous brothers and sisters recently in the hinterland. And folks, some things that he observed. Some things he has observed. He says a crisis. He says it's a crisis. Here is why.
I want to start off by talking about a crisis that is evident in Region 9 in terms of education. The results for CSEC for Region 9 indicate that 5.66, an average of 5.66% passed CSEC for the region. I'll just briefly give you these figures, and I'm sure the ministry can challenge them if they wish, but they're the ministry's figures. St. Ignatius School, St. Ignatius Secondary at CSEC, 8%. Anai Secondary, 7%. Sand Creek Secondary, 6%. Aishalton Secondary, 8%. Karasabai Secondary, 2%. And Kotoka Secondary, 3%. That means that 94% of the students who attended secondary school for the last 5 years in those schools that I've just identified have failed CSEC. That is a crisis. It means that all those students who, I'm not sure they'll graduate, who leave secondary school in Region 9 after having spent 5 years will have absolutely no certification. Now, this is a national crisis. It's not a political crisis. It's a national crisis because we cannot have any part of this country be subject to a fail rate of 90% after secondary school, after spending 5 years. The crisis is compounded by the fact that there are no plans for vocational training for these 95% of students who have just finished 5 years in secondary school without any qualifications. Now, the figures that we have, I believe, are the ministry's figures. And given that this crisis is so severe in Region 9, we would like to request and demand that the Minister of Education or the Ministry of Education releases all the CSEC results for all the regions in the country. Because we cannot possibly have an average pass rate of 5.66% or 6% in a secondary school. It means that for the 5 years that have been spent there has been a complete failure of the delivery of quality education. And this brings me to another discussion, the difference between output and outcome. Every day we are regaled in the newspaper and various media that the government is spending more and more money on the construction of school buildings. That's an output. The outcome in Region 9 that we have proof of is that despite whatever they have constructed, the delivery of education and the outcome, which is 5.6% pass rate, is clearly completely disproportionate to and has no relation to the amount of money that's spent on buildings. Region 9 is an indigenous area, and therefore it is a matter of crisis. And I'm going to come on to another subject shortly that further compounds the way in which the indigenous have been treated by the state. The percentage passes for the 2 years before that were 14% in 2022 for Region 9 and 19% in 2023. There must be some reason for that drastic decline to 5.66. And if this is not a national crisis, then I'm not sure what would be. The Alliance for Change, first of all, wants to propose that there clearly is an immediate, in-depth analysis of the reasons why we have failed the students in Region 9 after 5 years or during the 5 years. That analysis should not take more than 6 weeks. And immediately thereafter, we would like to recommend that there be an implementation of recommendations that have taken from the region, from the entire country, national recommendations for education in Region 9. You may recall that the Alliance for Change at its conference indicated that there were 5 key areas that we should have 10 to 15-year plans for, and education was the first, because education is perhaps the most important aspect of development for this country for the next 15 years. If that was not sufficient, You may recall about 4 weeks ago, the Minister of Education said she was going to conduct or cause the ministry to conduct a survey of pit latrines after we had raised this issue, particularly in relation to Philippi. We understand that that study is completed, and we understand that the results of that indicate that there are 77 schools which have pit latrines, 77 schools that have pit latrines. When you get over that, you can pass it back. When you get over that, all of the schools that have pit latrines are in indigenous areas, every single one of them. And they are in excess of 5,000 students who are attending schools which only have pit latrines. I don't wish to be alarmist, but this perhaps is the most clear evidence of discriminatory systems in relation to the indigenous people. Not only are they failing at the rate of 95% in Region 9, but they appear to be the only students who attend facilities, educational facilities, where there are pit latrines. This is a report, and I would just ask the minister if she would be kind enough to release the report. I think it is entitled Ministry of Education, Information and Sanitary Facilities, brackets, lateral. The nation needs to sit down as a nation, not as our various political factions, not as our ethnic factions, and acknowledge that this is a awful, awful form of discrimination that is being perpetuated against our First Peoples. We then have to declare that that is a crisis, and we allocate the resources to immediately replace all the pit latrines in those 77 schools, all of which are in indigenous areas, with freshwater flushing toilets. We cannot in 2024 have this level of unofficial mistreatment and different treatment and secondary treatment, consequently creating persons who are relegated to second-class citizenship. We believe it's a matter of national importance, and the Alliance for Change is willing to participate not only in a national discussion, but in all national efforts that should be undertaken immediately to redress this very, very awful imbalance. We urge the Minister of Education to release the figures of her survey. This is not for the purposes of making political points. We wish to score none. What we wish to do is address this awful situation of less than equal treatment to our brothers and sisters in the indigenous community. I want to
We not like scoring political points. It's the reports, no prayer. You're not prayer, don't release reports, sir. You remember the Maria Dom? She said she had a report there that spoke to it. She had the report there that spoke to it. So that's the opener in case you're just joining us, folks. That is the opener. That is the opener. Be coming around to Melly Mel. I'm saving it. I know you're all fast. You're on the Melly Mel business. So I'm saving be coming around there. But let's talk about this guy here. Young man, entrepreneur, just want to earn an honest living, feed the children, take care of his wife, take care of his spouse. That's all he want to do. And some people in tuition, according to him, bothering him. You know? He had a little fish and chips shop. They fight him down for that. He closed it. He opened a wash bay. They fight me down for that. Other wash bays in tuition. He ain't getting fight down. Yeah. But he getting fight down. The Calypsonian, I think it's in Trinidad, say, stop this attack. Get off the black boy back. It crawled my skin when I heard this young man and his plight. It crawled my skin. We spoke about it this morning, folks. And as I said, we got some of our Afro Guyanese, as they got to use a term of Professor Bertrand Ramcharan, tendencies to racism, towards racism. Some Afro Guyanese, and then you got some Indo Guyanese brothers. Some of them got some tendencies as well towards racism. We got to watch that, and we got to check it. Take a look, take a listen to this young man's plight. His plight there in Tushan. Take a look, take a listen.
I operate a wash bay in Tushan scheme. I operate a wash bay. Yes, it is registered. I used to operate a fish shop. It's registered also. We have my food handlers. Everything that I need, groundwork, is the fish shop there. Used to operate it. It can't operate no more. It can't operate no more. See this neighbor? Look at this big house here. This big shed here. See all these things on this carpet? Right? Yeah. This neighbor bring every single body. Every single entity that she could think about. She went to the station, she made countless reports over and over concerning my business. She went to the EPA, she went to the ethnic relations. I have letters from all these agencies. The people from the EPA, this is the only, let me just back up a little bit. This is the only wash bay that got the pressure wash in a box, in a carpet box. The UPA advised me to put on the top and put on the back. Well, this is the only thing I could come up with to put on the top and the back to reduce the noise from this neighbor that live over the other side over there, right? See, if you look more wash bay there on this hand, this side of the land. The fish shop don't function no more. She cost up my customers, she abuse them up. Is ongoing something. Some business dead. So I try for, adapt to survive. I close the fish shop. We ain't doing fish shop no more, man. We can do something else because I got 3 children. They gotta live. They gotta survive. So I gotta do. Me and get money to do this. This in cash by the government. I invest my money and I cash it. You understand? Now they got about 10 wash bay in this scheme. I don't know if I could switch this camera. They got about 10 wash bay in this scheme. I can't switch it. If you look way up the road there by the blue bus, there's a wash bay. So there right out here, right out on the reserve, as you're saying, the government reserve. There's a wash bay straight up the road where the blue bus is. There's a wash bay. They got about 10 wash bay in the scheme. 10 wash bay in about 10 on this main road in this scheme that they're on top the same road. You understand? Look how far me shed there from the public road. Watch. From the road. Watch. You see the distance? This car could park. This car could park not under the shed. It could park and it end up on the road. Yeah, I see what's showing you. Yeah. It end up on the road. We're going to do a drive-through now. You see, this is Tushan scheme. There's a shed there. See how close it is? There's a shed here. How close it is to the road? There's a next shed here. Right? Just show you. Let's drive. Let's take a drive and see what's really going on in Tushan scheme. And tell me if I'm not being singled out. You understand? I'm being singled out of everybody because of my neighbor, Ms. Gayatri Prasad, that works at Legal Affairs. I'm being singled out and victimized in this country. I thought if I work hard, invest my money, try to keep my nose clean, I'll be able to provide a better life for me and my children, my family. But apparently that's not how it works. That's not how it works. There's a next wash bay here. You see how far the shed is? There's a next wash bay there. Coming up now. Watch. There's a next wash bay on the left-hand side coming up here. There's a next wash bay here. You see where the shed is? You see how far the shed is? All right, good. Let's go. Let's move on. This needs to stop. This needs to stop. You see the store? Watch. You didn't get to see it just now. All this is shed on the road. Current with the guy from Mr. Williams from enforcement of Ministry of Housing, Mr. William, that is in charge of enforcement. This week claiming when he called me this morning, claiming that he's in charge of enforcement. So let's go. This is the next wash bay. This is a wash bay before my wash bay. You see, there's a wash bay here. The shed is all throughout straight. There's a wash bay. There's a shed here. Go on. You see this building here? It's just shy of the lantern post. This structure here is built here. It's not being moved. Look, all this is residential area. Remind you. Watch this here. This is where I live. This is my wash bay. You see how far it is from the road? Yeah. There's a tire shop here. All is residential. Chinese restaurant here. All residential. All right. Let's keep going on. There's a shed there also. It's removable, but let's go. There's the next wash bay here. Look, under government reserve. Yes, in front of the yard. Just as my wash bay. Like I said before, if this was something that they're regularizing the scheme, I had no problem with it. But every single, watch, there's a next store here, shed out here also, right? Every single entity that this girl or agency that this girl could find, next wash bay, next store shed on the road that this girl could find to shy at me, everybody she's sending every minute is a torment. Every day, every minute is a torment. As soon as you think everything is calm, it's torment again. All the time. Torment. Over and over. All the time it's torment. And it ain't stopping. This needs to stop. Like I said before, I am frustrated. This is not a multi-million-dollar business. This is not a Chinese supermarket. Here, this is a small business. It's carry washing. Right? It's carry washing. We gotta survive. What we gonna do? All we can thief. Some of we ain't got the skin for take legs for thief. You understand? Some of we gotta work hard for survive. And I invest my money to survive in my country. I'm a Guyanese citizen, born and raised here. I never left this country yet. I don't even have a passport for go nowhere because this is me home. You understand? And if I can't live here and I can't hustle here, where else I could live? Where else I could go and work? Yeah, being a racialism in blood. As a Guyanese, it's one people, one nation, one destiny. There's the matter of this country. You understand? Watch, you see this Krishna house here? Watch, there's the next Krishna house. And why you look good? There's the next Krishna house. Watch, you see all them tire without there? You see all them tire without there? Nobody can stop nowhere there. And like I showed you before, you understand? You see all these cement bag with the here, so, and all these blocks and all these things. Nobody can stop there. Me ain't got a problem. Me ain't got to stop there. I do me thing. I try to do my business, trying to stay in my car now. Watch, I take this. I put this, I know it's a long video, yeah, bear with me. Watch. I put this plyboard here, so. This plyboard here, so, for black car, every time the customer come, she costing them up. She costing up the customer them. You understand? So I black it. Watch. She video in my yard. Watch. You see the zinc here? I put the zinc here for black there because she video in my yard all the time. I can't live in peace. Everywhere I go, this girl, apparently she working, can't she? She working at legal affairs. And apparently when people are powerful in this country, they could victimize and they could prosecute whoever they feel like. Because the enforcement officer ain't got to know how the shed. It was an exercise and the campaigning and they want to regularize everything in the scheme. I would understand. I have no problem with that. You understand? But you cannot come to me and pick me out to the group. You understand? Pick me out to the group for trying to break my business and try to demolish my business. I living through this for years. I got videos for sure that these people running, coming over in my yard, coming over here for beat me. You understand? For fight with me. These people over there. I have video for show it. You understand? It's two Krishna house. Watch. This one, what they signed up there. What the next signed up here. And this is why you got to deal with all the time. And people trying to tell me, oh, it's not racial. I'm one the only black man that got business on this main road. And is the only one being victimized. Look, the vehicle come. You see? I ain't lying. Watch. What the come watch. See? No, oh, sorry. There's EPA. Sorry, there's EPA. Just now, let me deal with the EPA now. Right? Let me deal with the EPA and then we can move on. Reason why right now you there for big cat. I tell you a lot about you over there, brethren. You don't know I got it there. You don't just open up the fire. You understand? You don't know what I got to deal with. Hey, you go home. You go home.
I don't have to explain unto you. No, hold on, buddy. You have to tell what you be doing. That's your family. You go home. You come over here. You love me. You love me. You come to family will go in. I'll be going for me. You guys forget me. Problem. I like to represent me. I live. You understand? I like to represent me where I live. This is you want to find out what's going on. You ask the family.
Welcome back, folks. Never dull moment in this country. Never a dull moment in this country. We got lots of more to show you. We got lots more to show you, folks. That young man is that is Joel Dotson. Want to get the name correct? Joel Dotson. The struggle is real. We could want to talk from now till never morning. The sincere fun comes one Guyana. Look at it. We got to deal with that as a country, folks. We got to deal with that. Pray for Joel. Pray for the whole community. Got some demons in the castle. Some big ones too to cast out. Please and thank you. Please and thank you. Let's touch on a couple other things, folks. We got a lot to cover. Share the live for us. Smash that emoji button for us as well. And why don't we start with a little fire? What is a day in this country if we ain't got a little fire? They're telling us 12 persons were left homeless as fire ravaged a structure in Lamaha squatting area in Sophia. This happened on Wednesday. They tell us Beefield, Sophia. 2 structures were destroyed and 12 persons homeless, as we've said. Yep. Took 18 firefighters, 6,000 liters of water, according to the Ghana police, the Ghana Fire Service, to control the blaze, which originated in a single structure, wooden structure. And there, they managed to get the fire under control, but the damage was already done. 12 persons homeless. 12 persons homeless. That's part of what that's what we follow. And the very same day, the government says squatting is not necessary now. Everybody get in house and land and a door and ganja and marijuana. It's nice time, they said. It's nice time. Everything nice in Ghana. Look what happening in Tushen. No need to squat anymore. That's what they're saying. That's what they have us to believe. Everybody's satisfied. Everybody getting land and so on. No need to squat. Because there's adequate effort, they say, to provide housing through the legal channels, including land allocation and infrastructural development. Nobody needs to squat. Yeah, I'm telling that to the folks at Hillfoot, Amelia's Ward, in the squatting area there in Linden. You know, tell it to the folks at Success on the East Coast, don't need to squat. 23 years ended up in housing. It's now that digging up. They should be doing much more. But we're going to lay out some of that. We're going to lay out some of that on another occasion. We're going to lay out some of that on another occasion. See, Region 2 getting some excavators, folks. Rightly so. We don't envy nobody. You got to get thing, you got to get thing. But when the next man time comes to get heating, let him get his too. And only concern here, as MP Vince Roy Jordan showed us recently, we hope that the excavator going to friends, family, and favorites. Their farms getting all the use of it, and then it's put to private use for monetary gains and so on. That's the challenge we're going to have, folks. That is the challenge that we're going to have. And that is one of the things we're following as well. That is the challenge we're going to have. So we saw Zulfikar kill Zulfi, unseen to hand over these 2 mini excavators to Region 2 and a long boom excavator, the place called Bethany and Amerindian community, of course. And they said this is part of the efforts to enhance the regional agricultural infrastructure. Good for them. But don't let it go to friends, family, and favorites. Because we heard in Region 5 that farmer complaining to MP Vince Roy Jordan. The excavator here, but it's just a few people getting to use it. And a lot of other farms suffering. So we got to watch that. Corruption comes in all forms in this country. We saw the fire chief saying, given the hot weather, you know, they said from September to November, the heat is on. Have you been feeling that heat in Georgia? I know some of y'all in the diaspora saying, we ain't know nothing but heat yet. We ain't know nothing but heat yet. Have you folks been feeling the heat? Have you? Have you? Have you now? Fire Chief Gregory Wickham says, and he's urging citizens rather, don't burn nothing without contacting the Guyana Fire Service, right? Reminding folks that it is illegal to burn. Take warning. Take warning, folks. At least you end up like, sadly, those folks in Sophia, whole structure burned up. Consult before you burn. Bad for the environment, and then you got this whole heat wave happening there. They haven't really and truly classified it yet for us, but that's one of the things we're following. This heat wave, good folks. And as we come now, I'm trying to get to Melly trying to get to y'all remember this scandal that's ongoing at the Ghana Marketing Corporation? Y'all remember that? Zulfi says he started the audit. And then Tashana Lal had to come out. I said, no, I started the audit. We don't go in for corruption here. We don't do it. Well, good folks, the Ministry of Agriculture, they're now telling us that the Auditor General's office is going to be involved here, the Auditor General's office, and that the Auditor General's office is going to pronounce definitively on that audit that is being done by the Ghana Manufacturing Corporation there. So we're watching that. We know what Zulfi trying to do here. This is a set piece. We see it. We know what Zulfi is trying to do here. But we hope that Tashana Lal stands her ground. Truth must prevail, not lies, not alternative facts. So we're watching that. And then, folks, this point, I saw Sherwood Lowe wrote a fantastic letter in today's paper. He says only when Ali visits communities, he's got a couple of things done because he come to instruct. Fix this piece of bridge here. Patch this hole here. Run a pipe there. Fantastic letter in today's paper. But Sherwood Lowe, he says only when Ali passing through. And he contends that this is an ad hoc kind of development, ad hocracy. When I was learning management, and that's what they call it. This practice of initiating community projects only after a visit from your fund. Well, you got a lot of communities for Dutch. Plenty communities for Dutch. While we're tracking that, good folks, while we're tracking those issues, you got a couple more we're tracking as well, right? Here's some other things we saw today. The PNCR had a presser, and MP Ganesh Maipoli said, you see this procurement commission, the corrupt, the Public Procurement Commission, the Tender and Administration Board, I think that's a specific one, the Tender and Administration, corrupt. And then you'll hear Mr. Norton talk about Jagdio. He said Jagdio should be the last person to talk about crime. He wanted to do a COI, trying to clear his name about his what occurred under his presidency was a terrible, dark time in this country. Take a look, folks, and take a listen.
Member of Parliament Ganesh Mahipal has described the National Procurement and Tender Administration Board as being blatantly corrupt. He was commenting on the award of contracts to supply pharmaceuticals for the government.
On August 15, 2024, the NPTAB considered and awarded contracts to the Ministry of Health for the supply of pharmaceuticals. Out of 505 items tendered for by 11 companies across 40 lots, every single one was handed to the new GPC Inc., amounting to over $7 billion.
He said that this is brazen corruption. He said that the new GPC wasn't the lowest or most responsive bidder in all 40 lots.
Even more damning is the allegation that 10% of the awarded sum, $700 million, was funneled as a bribe to Freedom House to secure the deal for new GPC Inc. This is organized crime masquerading as governance.
He said that this is just a glimpse of the vast web of corruption.
It is abundantly clear that the Audit Office of Guyana is either too intimidated or too under resourced to tackle the enormity of this corruption. Guyana stands at the precipice, with corruption at its highest point and transparency and accountability at their lowest.
He said that to combat the level of corruption, there should be the establishment of an independent investigative body. He said that there should also be international oversight.
We call on international anti-corruption agencies and organizations such as Transparency International and the United Nations to provide oversight and ensure that the investigations are full of integrity. 3. Legal reforms. Immediate reform of procurement laws to include more stringent anti-corruption measures, including transparency in the bidding process, public disclosure of contract awards, and mandatory audits for all significant public tenders.
Mahipal said that people who expose corruption should be protected by law to protect them from retaliation. Vice President Barra Jagdeo told his weekly press conference that he would initiate a commission of inquiry into the crime wave during the early part of the century. Then the opposition leader Aubrey Norton said that there must be first an investigation into the leadership of the Guyana Police Force.
The root of the problems here are one, a compromised police force that cannot enforce law and order in a uniformed way. The short pants, the kid in the short pants, paper shorts, is a clear case in which the police through the cameras had the evidence but couldn't act.
He said that the PPP is complicit in crimes.
And when the crimes are committed by people close to them, the allegations against Dharam Lal, the police cannot act. How then are you going to investigate crime without establishing that the government itself is prepared to depoliticize the Guyana Police Force? The government is prepared to let crimes that are committed, regardless of who commit them, be investigated by the police force. And if those terms of reference are going to be useful, it should include the investigation of allegations of bribery and corruption against Barra Jagdeo, as is stated clearly in the documentary by Vice News.
He said that Jagdeo has no moral right to talk about investigating crimes.
He has no moral right to be involved in anything to do with investigating crimes. He has presided over the most corruption in this country, the most deaths and murder of African Guyanese and other Guyanese occurred under his watch as president. So I would say to the Chronicle, look at the crimes committed and deal with all of them in a fair way, including the allegations of bribery and corruption against Barra Jagdeo.
Norton dealt specifically with the crime wave of 2002.
If you investigate in the 2000 crime wave, you're charging Caesar to be tried by Caesar. Barra Jagdeo again should not be involved in setting up of anything to deal with the crime wave, because he would be considered an integral part of the crime wave.
Yep. Spot on. Welcome back. An integral part of the crime wave. We got some ways left to go in our broadcast this evening. We see MP Vince Roy Jordan saying to Gaisuko, saying to the government of Guyana, release the audit on Rosal estate. You know, these is the folks, you had a little fire there, it moved from $50 million to $600 million. You're hearing that 200 plus tons of sugar missing. Them pots thieving sugar now. That's why we got to line up. That is why we got. They dismissed two high-ranking employees there at Rose Hall. But is everything all right? Everything are things tight in this country. People got tea sugar. High-ranking executives being accused of stealing sugar at Gaisugo. They said it was an overstatement. No sugar missing was an overstatement. Look at things tight in this country. 27-year-old radio host. Is it Shima Mona? Shima Mona, 27-year-old. You know, she was intercepted at Weldad on the public road there. But a lot of ganja. Them boys sent about 75 policemen at Melly Mel, family home there on the East Bank. In some back alley, around some turn, they find 27 grams. But this radio show host, right? Is it Shima Mona? I hope I get the name right. Apologies if I don't. She had parcels. Right? Her vehicle was stopped, intercepted. And she had parcels, they say, of narcotics wrapped in transparent plastic. She admitted to owning the drugs, claiming that it was a risky gamble for her to pay for her mother's hospitalization. That's how people got to struggle in this country under this regime. That the PPP turning people into narcotics pushers and traffickers. That's what the PPP doing. Young Shima Mona said, gotta pay the bill somehow. Everything high. She was a gamble. You gotta pay the bill. They said this seized marijuana weight 14 kg, 505 grams, 14 kg and 505 grams. According to the report we have, she's in custody. She implanted this. Who planted it? Notice where she's coming from. A lot of marijuana coming from Barbies because the sugar goes down as the cane dry up. Right? Is that crop rotation is called? That's what they're doing there. You know, but we say, if you can't do the time, don't do the crime. Do the time, don't do the crime. That case in point, Gopal Tiwari, a 56-year-old from Craig. He's accused of defrauding an American citizen $6.4 million in a land sales scam. A land sales scam. By falsely claiming, Tiwari did, falsely claiming he was the owner of a parcel of land. He obtained this $6.4 million from Erlin Theodore Craig. That's wickedness. Folks, this is hustle nation, you know. This is hustle nation. Soon as you slip them boys, gone with you. Or them girls, gone with you. 6.4. Pretend he owned the land, gone with my money. Can't do the time to worry. Don't do the crime. He's on a $300,000 bill. Believe it or not, $300,000 bill. We can talk about the free speech, Josh, when we talk about Melly Mel. But the all boys say you want all the airports in this country to go paperless, the big head one. All the airports to go paperless. No. Sounds like a good idea. Very aspirational. People still filling water in buckets at CGIA to flush the toilet. Right? The airstrip. They get black out 1 and 2 times. Oh, let me fix these little problems first. let me cure some of these defects first. 4 years in, Mr. Jackson. Let us cure some of these defects. As I said, good folks, they're on the case of Melly Mel again. They're on the case of Melly Mel again. But before I get there, the lines will change at a press conference today. And one of the deputy general secretary, saying to us, G, come and ready yet? Beverly alert. G, come and ready yet for the impending elections. There are more questions than answers. Take a look, take a listen. When you come back, we got some things to talk about Melly Mel. And I sat down today with one of the attorneys representing Melly Mel as well. But first, folks, Beverly alert. She said, G, come and ready yet? We're Claudette there. Claudette need to come out from under the rock. She has been hiding on the, telling you what Beverly alert and the lines of change said. Yep, what she said.
as the Alliance for Change look more into preparations for the next regional and general elections, we are becoming more and more concerned over the lack of effort to fix weaknesses in the electoral system. The party has received reports that visits to verify the address of an elector is not always being done. These reports are coming mainly from hinterland communities. And while the party would acknowledge that residency is not a requirement to be on the voters list, the present system does present opportunity for voter manipulation. Based on the Election Laws Amendment Act 2000, the Elections Commission had adopted a procedure where visits were made to the address given by an elector to verify that indeed the elector was a resident of the electoral district. This process is no longer being carried out in many districts. Whether it is the cost of the returning officer making such a visit or a change in its operations, GCOM has not made any public pronouncement on the matter. This opens the door for voter manipulation, as I've said, of the list of electors. For example, let us take a look at the 2020 election results for Region 8. The difference between the two main parties, the PPP and the APNU AFC coalition, was less than 100 votes. Now, bear in mind, in Region 8, under our hybrid system of first past the post and geographical representation, it provides one seat in the National Assembly to the party that gets the most votes, regional votes. If the party arranged the transfer of 100 persons from Region 6, for example, to Region 8, then it is likely for that party to win the regional seat. Then that one seat would give the party control of the House, control of the National Assembly through the manipulation of the list. For region number 8, the residents there, they would have a regional council elected by persons who do not live in that district and have no interest in what goes on there. The same would happen in the township of Madio at local government elections. The AFC has made repeated calls for the Elections Commission to make recommendations to improve our electoral system. These calls have fallen on deaf ears. The party has also written asking for a meeting to address our concerns. We've had no reply. We're still hoping that the Elections Commission can carve out some time from whatever it is that's keeping them so busy so that we can sit down and we can discuss all these matters that are of concern not only to the Alliance for Change, but to the people of Guyana. In this day and age, why is the Elections Commission still holding on to a system of paper verification of an elector? Why is technology not being employed, as in the form of biometric identification? The present list of electors is close to the full population of Guyana. And outside of having the census that was due over a year ago, we have to use the figures of the last census. So how can that list really be an accurate list of eligible electors? Clearly, GCOM is failing in its duty to prepare for credible elections. Elections must not only be free and fair, but it must also be credible. There is also the matter of citizens of Commonwealth nations who may be considered domiciled in Guyana. With the influx of foreign workers in the oil sector, should they be eligible for inclusion on the OLE? At present, the laws provide for that. But should they really be electing the government of Guyana? This matter is engaging the attention of the Alliance for Change, and we will be speaking more on this at another time. Let me also remind you, ladies and gentlemen of the media, and those being there, that over a year ago, we wrote GCOM, providing the names of persons to be extracted from the list to fill vacant seats within the regional councils for Region 2, Region 7, and Region 4. GCOM has not answered us. They have not replied. They have not let us know the way forward. So we're still waiting on that. At this present time, the Alliance for Change is not satisfied with preparations for the next elections. There are too many weaknesses in the system. GCOM has not made public any recommendation on how these weaknesses are being addressed. Any post-elections unrest would be the result of GCOM's failure. It is time for the chairperson to bother herself and say what needs to be done to ensure a credible electoral process. As the Alliance for Change look more
Apologies there, folks. Second apology. Beverly Alert from the Alliance for Change, bringing so much happening at the back end. Bringing us up to speed, Beverly Alert. Us up to speed with what's happening there at GCOM. Letting us know that they're not ready for this 2025 general regional election. But that's part of it, That is part of it, folks. As you know, one of the biggest things this week is this raid on the Atwell's house there on the East Bank. And as we close out the week, let's bring you up to speed with some of what we know. As you know, just yesterday, right, and a battery of attorneys, let me start there, battery of attorneys, which include Roysdale Ford and Nigel Hughes, Joseph Harmon, right? You have also UC Anderson and Dr. Dexter Todd, Narissa Leander and Ayana Butts, and also the one and only Darren Wade. It's part of that team representing Miss Atwell, Melly Mel, as she's commonly known, her mom, Debbie Tyson, and her grandmother, Josephine Tyson, representing them in this matter. It's their home on the East Bank that was raided, folks. So this is what we're following. What do we know as of this hour, folks? The Attorney General, we're made to understand, has responded. Anil, your boy, from the East Coast, ballot box Anil, stating that the search warrant issued by the magistrate was all on the up and up. Producing that search warrant, it's a pity they didn't produce it yesterday. It's a pity they didn't produce it yesterday at the Tyson's home there on the East Bank. Melly Mel's parents and grandparents' home on the East Bank there. Right? But he did provide the Attorney General a copy of this search warrant issued by a magistrate to search the property for narcotics. Yep. The Attorney General is said to have stated that the officers did this search in the most scrupulous, or did so in the most scrupulous compliance with the laws and Constitution of Guyana. The most scrupulous compliance, he said, with the laws and Constitution. Yeah, this according to the Attorney General's chamber. He has denied any violation of the law, constitutional rights, and he has denied any breach of the Constitution. But the lawyer is saying it did occur. And if we got a choice between the lawyer, if we got a choice between them, this battery of lawyers, and Adil, y'all know where we are. Y'all know where we are. Yesterday, at the Vice President's press conference yesterday, he dismissed the allegations of political victimization. Yeah, dismissed it. Made by, of course, these allegations were made by Melly Mel on our program and elsewhere. Man, they find 27 tons of ganja, cannabis, they find 27 grams. Folks have said it's valued at 10,000 Ghana dollars. Jagger also defended in his press conference the PPP's government tolerance for dissent. He defended their tolerance, for criticism, stating that the allegations to the otherwise as being baseless. That's part of what we now know. We saw former Mayor Ubraj Narain. He ran out in the chest yesterday as well. And he said, the ABC EU countries, the ABC EU countries are watching on at what is happening here. Also urging them in a very strong letter to the editor to take action as well on what the PP administration is doing. Every time somebody critiques the government, he or she, according to the mayor, and we know it's true, is subject to harassment and intimidation. Harassed and intimidated. And then you see criminal or civil charges, of course, like Melly. He said the government, this is former Mayor Ubraj Narain, he said the government also use paid social media trolls. We know them. Social media trolls and letter writers to attack their critics, some of them in the comment section right now. And he made this point. He said, despite their claims that they are an autocratic government, he urged the American government especially to rein in this autocratic regime. Thank you so much, Your Worship, Bandit, former Mayor Ubraj Narain. Thank you so much. We gotta continue to speak truth to power. We caught up with Senior Counsel Darren Way today, who, as I said, is one of the lawyers in this matter. And we said, lay out this issue for us. Senior Counsel Wade, lay out this matter for us. Thank you so much, Attorney at Law Darren Wade. Lay it out for us.
Attorney at Law Wade, Darren Wade, you're one of the attorneys representing Melissa Atwell and her relatives in this recent matter where they went and searched their premises on the East Bank. In an ideal situation, what is supposed to happen when the police is suspecting citizens in this country of wrongdoing, narcotics, and what's the ideal situation? And let's talk about what happened on that day first.
Well, first and foremost, in order to carry out a search on someone's premises for narcotics or ammunition, you don't need guns or ammunition. You don't need a warrant. You need reasonable suspicion. The state must have some sort of record before they enter the premises. In the present case, they went with a purported warrant, a document that was flashed and pulled back. And consequently, we will have written to the Commissioner of Police asking him for the factual basis and the legal basis for entering the premises. To justify this search, he has 48 hours at the date. 48 hours will go for the weekend. So let's say by Monday he should respond. We expect a response by Monday. We all know Ms. Atwell has been an advocate. She has been a human rights activist. She has been exposing the corruption by the government. And based upon the instruction that we would have received, this was a targeted attack. Our grandmother is 86 plus years of age, who is dying in bed. And the police went there to this old woman and carried out a search. They searched also her mother. We believe the conduct of the police there was inhumane, taking into consideration senior people with old people, and this is an excuse, or this is what we see very oftentimes in the court, where the police arrive at the premise and say they saw a bag being thrown through the window, and what we would have seen, or Miss Melman placed, but on Facebook is a window that is barred up, that is totally grilled, no bag can pass through there. So this could only be an harassment, as we were instructed by her.
So that's the premise that you are operating under. What did you learn transpired on the day in question when the police arrived at this home? Because clearly Miss Atwell don't live in Guyana. She has not been here for a little while.
Right, well, the police turned up indicating that they're for a search, as indicated before. they flashed a document claiming it to be a warrant. They did not leave a copy with the residents to say, okay, this magistrate or this court, and so I have seen warrant for of Justice JP giving signing off on warrant to say, okay, we have this authority to enter the premises. None of that. They haven't shown any legal basis, any factual or legal basis of entering the premises, albeit they entered and they carried out the search and nothing was found on the premises. We were seeing a press release as the entire guy stating that something was found in an alleyway. I don't know what is the basis of that, of saying that, because nothing was found in the possession or control of any of the occupants of our mother or our grandmother.
And I think they had said, at least through Ms. Atwell, that nothing was communicated to them, that anything was found even close to the premises.
And that is troubling because it's an embarrassing thing. What this appears to be by the guy in the police was they're embarrassed. They have to find an excuse to say, okay, well, nothing was found on the premise because they left. If there was nothing was found on the premise, they must say something was found. Because if it is that they say it was found, then they would have to carry out an arrest. Thank goodness they didn't plant the weed on the premise because, not only Guyana, around the world, we have seen evidence being planted. I believe that statement afterwards is something more or less to cover up their action or to make it look like, okay, that we had probable cause or reasonable cause for going there, which there were none. So that's how I see the statement being issued.
Attorney at Law Wade, as an attorney and as a citizen, are you concerned about our government and administration going after its detractors, its political opponents? We've seen a wanton use of the Cybercrime Act, and now we've seen this resort now to large-scale, wide-scale victimization. All of what we know about that raid a few days ago only produced 27 grams of cannabis in an alleyway. Are you concerned about this kind of escalation of a police state, as it were?
Of course. The PPP government, as we know, the PPP has a history of being a communist party. I am not only an attorney at law, I practice in human rights, administrative law practice. And this is a concern for me to see the government using state resources, using the arm of state to settle political scores, to go after persons who are, I won't say against the government, but those who are exposing corruption by the government, to go after them. It's a bit of a concern for anyone. And this needs to stop. It is not Miss Melissa Atwell, it is Rickford Burke as well that they're going after. Even me myself, they have gone after. But these things are only being used to intimidate you. And it's important that persons don't be distracted and to continue to press the government, because in every society, you need checks and balances. And if there's a society guide where the government control everybody, they control the procurement commission, they controls the media, this is a government where the state finds itself everywhere. So the citizen, the power in the citizen is freedom of expression is important for checks and balances in any society.
Have you seen, because part of what you hear the administration say very often is that they welcome criticism. This is a democratic society, but yet you see instances like this with somebody like Ms. Atwell, who's out there every day, clearly, according to them waves, producing documents that look like official documents, purporting all of this wrongdoing and corruption in this country. Are we there? Are we practicing what we're preaching about this democratic state? You saw them go after Mr. Ramcharan, Professor Bertrand Ramcharan, who says we have shades of autocracy. Are they playing right into that when they do things like this?
It is autocracy. That's correct. That's the word I was looking for before. Sure, you have experienced it. You were charged in place before the court, Mr. Eugene frivolous charges. So what is clear about this government? Once you have a position that is adverse to their interests, once you have a position that you expose them to embarrassment, they are going to come after you. They're using the arms of the state to settle political scores. It doesn't matter whether or not a person, the police force is corrupt or what have you, once those officers are prepared to do the government's bidding, whether you're a police officer, your procurement officer, once you could do things the government, that's all it takes.
Finally, Attorney at Law Darren Wade, we're heading into a political season, general and regional elections quite soon. Do you perceive that you'll see more of this as the government try to clamp down on dissent and people speaking up against the ills that are being perpetuated? You have a sense you'll see more of this kind of repression?
It's desperation to hold on to power, desperation because they know what's going to happen should they go into opposition, because the amount of corruption we see it every day. Today I'm looking at the news, I see the new building, David, new GGMC building. We see the roads being built and breaking up tomorrow. We see the procurement law being flaunted and so forth. So I believe they are afraid. They are afraid of what will be what will become of them should they enter into go into opposition. Should they be a audit, a forensic audit, what it will show. So I think that's what it is.
Thank you very much for your time, Attorney at Law Darren Wade, and for bringing clarity to this matter. Thank you so much.
Cheers. Mm-hmm.
Yep, there you have it. Attorney at Law Darren Wade. It is desperation. Desperation. Them boys don't want to go into opposition. We can leave it there. The Attorney General says that no laws have been broken. No laws. He said they follow the law scrupulously. Good night to all. Joy Dodson and all you folks, good night to all of you. Except Ibn Lamy, good night to you, your family. Chin Sing Henry, good night to you. Vesta Hardy Rajkumar, Dan Graves, Andy Marlin Thomas, Lester Williams. Good night to all of you. Except Forrest Patus and Brenda. You all know the whole thing. You all know the whole thing. Let us leave it there, folks. That's our time this week. And that's our program. Have a fantastic rest of the weekend. A lot of people don't have any first bell ring. That's the last bell. Until we see you guys next week, have a fantastic weekend and stay safe.